What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Wildcat Cave. Kentucky put up another dud in week 2 against EKU, and now look ahead to Akron in their first night game of the season. With only one more game before the SEC gauntlet begins, the Cats have a lot to clean up if they want to live up to their preseason hype. In this video, I will give you my 5 things I need to see Kentucky improve on and give my prediction for week 3. As always, if you haven't already subscribed, do it right now. Football season has just begun, and we have a lot planned that you won't want to miss. Also, after you watch the video, go check out the membership tiers on the channel as well. They offer a lot of perks, and there's one to fit every budget. And finally, if you're watching this, that means the contest to guess the closest score is live again. Head over to the community tab on my channel and enter your guess. If you're the closest, I'll send you a Wildcat Cave sticker in the mail. Congrats to Andrew Cook last week for winning. Your stickers are on their way if you haven't already gotten them. Now, Kentucky beat EKU 28-17 in a game that was honestly controlled by Eastern for about the first 2.5 quarters. I've said all offseason that out of the 3 bad teams we opened the season with, that EKU would be the one to put up a fight and make it closer than it should be, and I was correct. But that does not excuse the fact that it shouldn't have been that close to start with. Now, I'm not here to make any grand assessments or judgments about this team or the season just yet. Everything I'm going to mention is fixable. But last year we saw problems early in the year that we thought would get fixed, but continued to cost them throughout the season. So in no particular order, here are my 5 current problems I see with this team that need to be fixed before Kentucky heads into the SEC games. The first one is pace of play. Right now, Kentucky is tied for 129th out of 132 teams when it comes to the average number of offensive plays ran per game. Kentucky is only averaging about 56 offensive plays per game compared to their opponents averaging 64. One thing Stoops harped on all offseason was playing faster, but up until now, Kentucky has done the exact opposite. With the weapons that this team has, there's no excuse to operate at such a slow pace. In Liam Coen's first season here, they averaged 66 plays per game. I know that the new running clock rules impacted the overall number of plays a team is able to run in a game, but waiting until there's 5 seconds on the play clock every single play is just unacceptable. Number 2 is that the number of penalties this team commits. I never thought I would have to say that a Mark Stoops team is undisciplined. Typically, Kentucky is one of the least penalized teams in the country, but right now they rank 123rd out of 132 teams in penalties per game, averaging 8.5 penalties. Only 2 Power 5 teams commit more penalties than they do. There isn't a way to quantify this, but the penalties that they commit as well are just drive killers. For example, Josh Caddis gets 2 false starts on 3rd and 1s that effectively kill drives and force UK to punt instead of extend drives and possibly score. The third issue I see with this team is that they're just not efficient on 3rd down on either side of the ball. Kentucky's offense is currently converting about 45% of their 3rd down attempts, and that number should easily be over 50%, especially against these bad teams that we're playing. And on defense, we rank 123rd out of 132 in getting off the field on 3rd down. The defense is currently allowing teams to convert 3rd down at a 52% rate. Something that Brad White has been known for is getting his defenses off the field on 3rd downs, and we just haven't been able to do that this year. With possibly one of the better D lines that we have had and the solid linebacking core, there shouldn't be any excuse as to why we can't hold teams on 3rd down. Fourth is that our receivers have just been less reliable so far this season. We were all excited to have our main trio of receivers back under Liam Coen, but so far, I don't believe they've lived up to expectations. Dane and Barrion have both dropped an excessive number of passes, and not only just passes, just catchable balls that they should be making in these first 2 games. Also, every receiver is struggling to even create separation in their routes. Leary is having to hold on to the ball way too long because no one is open, and he's trying to fit balls into extremely small windows. For this offense to really pop like we all expect them to, the receivers are just going to have to play better, plain and simple. And finally, number 5, Leary himself has to be more accurate. Currently, he's sitting at a 61% completion percentage on the year, and that number needs to be a lot closer to 70. And it probably is in the second half of his games. Like in Ball State, he completed 40% of the passes in the first half and 91% in the second. Leary's passes just seem to kind of sail a little as well for whatever reason. I don't know if he isn't stepping into his throws or not following through, but if you miss your target, you don't want the ball just floating in the air. And I know Liam Coen had a press conference this week where he talked about stepping off the mound and really finishing through the throws. So I think that really could be the problem, but he's got to get it fixed. I will say, though, in both of the second halves he's had this season, once he got it rolling, he has made some really impressive throws. And again, I know he's coming off an injury and he's in a new system, but his play in the first half just has to be better. And overall, the offense in general needs to start games better. Kentucky isn't good enough to take 2 full quarters to get going against SEC opponents. As for my predictions for Akron, Kentucky is currently a 26-point favorite with a 49.5-point over-under, which means Vegas thinks that this will roughly be a 38-13 game. Personally, I think that's a pretty solid guess. After seeing this team through the first 2 weeks, I don't know much about Akron, but at some point our offense is going to have to click. And I think after putting up a clunker last week, they'll come out dialed in for the first night game with a rowdy crowd. I'm going to take UK 41, Akron 13. Kentucky has a lot to prove, and I think that they hear the chatter around them and they're going to want to make a statement, and they cover and hit the over this week. That is going to wrap up this week's video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Go leave your predictions for this week on the community page for the channel to win a sticker. Subscribe to the channel, sign up for a membership. If you're at the game, come see me in section 202. I'll see you guys at the game, and I'll see you next week. Go Cats.